Okay, so let's get it started. It's 10 a.m. here, and good morning, everyone, and good afternoon to Paul in Los Angeles and some attendees from the US. And welcome to MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific 2022 Q&A session. And my name is Joanne Lee. I am the CEO and the founder of MediHeroes, a B2B platform, medical platform. MediHeroes platform will go live actually next month. And I'm very pleased to co-host this event with the MedTech Innovator. As you all know, MedTech Innovator is the largest accelerator for the MedTech companies in the world. And I like to note that VPIX Medical is one of the finalists last year. And I hope this session is help all of the attendees today understand the program better and help you complete application in time so that you all guys can build up your global network with amazing mentors and peers as well as investors. Thank you, and very pleased to meet you all. And let me introduce Ms. Sakina Tan from MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific, Program Director. Sakina, over to you.
Hi everyone, thank you, Joanne. So I'm Sakina, Program Director for MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific. And we have with me today Paul, who's our CEO, that will be giving an info session later on. So as the Program Director for Asia Pacific, I oversee the entire program and the applications and the Accelerator mentorship program for the Asia Pacific region, including Korea. So as Joanne has mentioned, last year, VPIX Medical was one of our finalists for the 2021 cohort, but we also have other Korean companies such as QnA and previously our showcase companies in 2019, who has quite a large slow interest coming from Korea. So we are looking at gaining that traction and looking forward to seeing everyone today. We hope we can answer all of your questions. So feel free to ask them as Paul goes through our info session. All right, thank you. Over to you, Paul.
Hey everyone, very nice to meet you. I'm Paul Grand, I'm the CEO at MedTech Innovator. And what I thought I'd do today is tell you a little bit about MedTech Innovator, some of the key points, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So why don't I start off with just a brief introduction of what MedTech Innovator is. So let's start with that. So to begin with, MedTech Innovator is an accelerator. As you heard before, we've had companies like VPIX and Huino as alumni of MedTech Innovator. So if any of you know any of them, you could reach out and they could tell you about the program and what's involved. But we're a little different than most accelerators. Typically, an accelerator they're usually regional. They're usually based in a particular region. Maybe they're associated with a university or something, and their focus is helping companies in that region or just trying to attract people to that region. And we're a little different than that. We're what I would call a downstream accelerator, meaning that we're focused on people who are up and running. Doesn't matter where they're based, anywhere in the world. We have no regional particular affiliation, even though I'm based in Los Angeles, California, and Sakina is in Singapore. It doesn't mean we're looking for companies from either Los Angeles or Singapore. We're just looking for great companies. And that means we look all over the world. And we have a program that is focused, that I would say is a little more like a corporate accelerator, if you're familiar with that term, meaning typically a corporation of some kind, let's say like a Johnson & Johnson or Olympus, is looking for companies that they might want to partner with at some point. And so they'll offer the ability for those companies usually to move and relocate and spend some time with them. And that's more of like a corporate accelerator. We're not requiring companies to move. So we don't ask people to relocate, but we offer the same kind of benefit. We are basically matching startups up with a number of corporate partners. So we have partners, I already mentioned Johnson & Johnson and Olympus. We have Nipro Medical in Japan and Align Technologies, Oliver Healthcare Packaging, Cambridge Consultants. We have a number of partners. We have many, many more. But the point is, we offer the ability for companies to partner up with these large medtech companies. And by medtech, in terms of criteria, what we're looking for are companies that are either medical device companies, digital health companies, diagnostics companies, or companies that are in the life science tool space, more like a bio tools. So those are kind of all the categories. The only thing we're not looking for is biopharma. Everything else is fair game. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're interested in. And we're looking for technologies that will partner up well with our corporate partners. And we have very broad coverage of our partners. So we're pretty much interested in everything from a disease focus or technology. So it could be robotics, it could be diagnostic, it could be, an implant, or it could just be software. It could be, all sorts of things. So we're looking for all those things. We're looking for many, many stages as well. So we're very broad. I think I think that's a really important thing to know about MedTech Innovator is we're looking for things that cross the entire gamut of MedTech and not any one particular area. So, but from a stage perspective, we're open to companies from the very early stages. The earliest stage would be someone who actually has a team and a prototype and, and hopefully has done some work to generate some evidence to show that what they're doing is actually going to work. Everything from that all the way up to mature companies that are on the market with products. Yeah, we offer something to all of those. We're looking for companies usually that are somewhere between, their seed round at the earliest stage and like their Series C financing, ABC. So like that kind of third round of funding, that's usually the latest that somebody would join MedTech Innovator. There are companies that come into MedTech Innovator who are mature companies that are selling products that have never raised capital. That's fine. It's not a requirement to have raised capital, but we want to make sure you have a product that you understand the market you're going after. So we're not the right place to come to and say, hey, I have this technology I've invented and help me figure out what to do with it. We're not the right fit for that. We're looking for people who have an idea of where they're going. So again, you have a technology that you've developed to some point, at least a prototype. You have a team that can work on it. So we're not looking for people who are going to join the company and be full-time once they raise capital. We're looking for people who are have a team, have a technology, a product that's again in development. That's fine. And again, evidence. That's the probably the other key criteria is some kind of evidence that it's going to work. So if you're on the market already, that might mean that you have data to show that people are using it and it works and it solves whatever problem you're trying to solve. If you're earlier in stage, you might have animal data, you might have cadaver data, you might have, if you're a software product, maybe just have some early users who've used the product, whatever it is. We want some kind of evidence that what you're doing is actually going to work. So that would be very helpful. So again, stage-wise, if you're just like at a university and you don't have a team and you really don't have the resources to execute yet, and you just have kind of more of like an idea, that's too early for us. There are other programs or other great accelerators for that. So that gives you a little more of an idea, hopefully on stage. And the types of technologies we're looking for. Our website, which is at medtechinnovator.asia, has great resources on the companies that have been part. You can see some information about alumni. You can see the types of companies that have been part of MedTech Innovator in the past. And I should point out that we are a global program. The program that we're talking about today is MedTech Innovator Asia Pacific, which is focused on companies that want to commercialize in the Asia Pacific region. But we will take companies from outside of the Asia Pacific region. We've had companies in our Asia Pacific program from Europe and from the US and from Canada as well. So you don't have to be based in Asia Pacific to be part of our Asia Pacific program, but you do have to be focused on that market. because what you're going to get from MedTech Innovator is corporate mentorship, as I already mentioned, but you're also going to get a lot of guidance about how to enter the market. So our program is designed completely to focus on your needs. So if somebody comes into MedTech Innovator, the first thing we do is sit down with them, ask them all about their company and where they are and in terms of their development, the regulatory strategy, the market access plans. And then we will marry you up with people, not only the main corporate mentor, but other mentors as well who can help with market access. So that's a big part of this as well. We do have, additionally, in terms of benefits, an amazing ecosystem of partners and alumni. We have 420 alumni at this point globally, of whom now we've been doing this since 2013. 95% of those companies are still in business. So, we have a very, very good track record in terms of our companies that we're picking. We're very competitive. We have like a 4 to 5% acceptance rate. So we have a lot of companies that apply, and we only take a small number of that. But we do invite a lot of them to pitch. And so a big benefit of applying to MedTech Innovator is that you have hundreds of people who will be reviewing your applications and potentially seeing and learning about your company. Secondly, just filling out the forms itself, there's a lot of structure to it that's really, we found that people said has been very helpful for them. And just thinking about questions maybe they hadn't thought about before. And then thirdly, as being, applying to MedTech Innovator, as I said, means that we might be picking you minimally to pitch. And what that means is you have a chance to pitch to our corporate partners. You also get to pitch investors, and you get to pitch, in many cases, people like customers or other types of partners. Sometimes hospital systems participate. So there's all sorts of people who are part of that. So there's a lot of benefits to applying. And then the last thing I'll mention is that once you get accepted, if you're lucky enough to get accepted into MedTech Innovator, you have an amazing peer group, both in Asia Pacific, but also outside. So, we have companies all across the world who will be participating in our cohorts, in both in the US and Asia. And then also for our, meaning the US focused program and the Asia focused program. And then you have access to our alumni, who I mentioned before. These are companies that have gone on to raise close to $4 billion now in follow-on funding. We have very, very active companies in our portfolio. If you look at the overall funding landscape, about one in 6 companies that are getting funded are part of our portfolio and MedTech. So we've got a very, very good portfolio. So the last thing I'll mention is that there is, at the end of the accelerator, if you're accepted into the accelerator, there's a competition. And that competition gives you visibility with the leadership of the industry at the Asia Pacific MedTech Forum, which is held in Singapore, assuming it happens in person this year. I hope it will. If not, it'll be virtual like it's been for the past 2 years. But the Asia Pacific MedTech Forum is attended by the leadership of the MedTech industry. So that's where the lead representatives of all the companies that you'll want to partner with at some point or want to know, they'll be there. And so if you're part of MedTech Innovator, you'll have a chance to showcase at that competition, at that event, at that conference. You'll be showcased, and some of you would be advanced to the finals competition, where anywhere from 4 to 5 companies, depending on the year, are selected to compete for our prizes, which are cash. We have cash awards, and we also have in-kind awards as well, which will include consulting agreements in some cases with Cambridge consultants, or we'll have some prizes from Enterprise Singapore. And then we'll also have J Labs in Shanghai offers a space, an incubator space for a company, a residency for a year. And then we have our cash awards, which can be $200,000 or more in some cases. So we have a number of prizes, a number of opportunities for companies. And as I said, just being part of the program is really what we would think is the prize. That's the biggest prize, because it is an incredible program, and you'll learn a lot and make a lot of great connections and be very visible. So that's the basic overview on MedTech Innovator. I can answer as many questions as you guys have, and then if there's not a lot of questions, I'll talk some more. But why don't I take a pause there?
지금 설명해 줘도 될 것 같아요.
네. Okay, thank you, Paul. Thank you for your introduction of MedTech Innovator and the program. And now we are going to get started our live Q&A session. Actually, we were supposed to proceed this session with a simultaneous translation, but to avoid any confusion and distraction, we are going to turn off the interpretation, and instead we are going to do a sequential interpretation. So if anyone who have questions, please post on your questions on the chat or ask question directly in English or Korean.
May I ask? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm Young Jo from Medical AI, and I'm a Chief Strategy Officer. And I'm very thank you to that MediHeroes because your company introduced us a really great accelerator, MedTech Accelerator, and actually I just finished 16 meetings from the biotech showcase, but I think that the MedTech Accelerator is the best, and I think a really great form. I think, yeah. What I want to ask is, yeah, we are now finding it the network in United States because in case of our company, we have to do clinical trials and we have to go into the market like the hospital because our main guest will be customer will be a hospital and a healthcare professional. But it is very hard to us because we all from the South Korea, and also I never lived in the United States. And actually, I'm in San Francisco because to solve it, but it is really hard to do. So what I want to the accelerator and the investment company is that the network and the network and something as the information. So, but we are not actually. We not need a lot of money because we already get a nice investment. But in case of our company, is it possible to go with together to get a network or something else rather than the money? Actually, we don't want to dilute a lot of that of our company.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So yeah, so the funding that we provide is only in the form of non-dilutive funding. So we're not taking equity. So when we give away awards, cash prizes, we don't take any equity for that. So it's all non-dilutive. But the network, as you said, that is, to me, that's the biggest, the biggest benefit is, really the access to both the other companies and to the corporates and to investors and others. So yes, you can participate without having to we don't take any equity in the companies for that.
Thank you so much. And I already applied to the MedTech Innovator yesterday, and it takes a really long time. Yeah, but yeah, I hope that we can be with you about it in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you for your program. I'm Youngjun Kim, the CEO of ImagoWorks. We are developing AI and SaaS for digital dentistry. I would like to ask you about the field. Is there any preferences between medicine and dentistry?
Yeah, so we have Align Technologies as one of our partners, and they're specifically interested in technology like AI for dentistry. That's what they're looking for. So you would be right in their sweet spot.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think to add to that, one of our cohort companies last year or the previous year was called Ewusoft. So they are also a South Korean dentistry company, if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, we are actually cooperating with them.
Right, so they were part of our program.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Paul, there was one question posted on the chat that the question from Endo Robotics. Endo Robotics 혹시 있으시면 그 한국말로 하시면 영어로 번역하실 겁니다. If Endo Robotics is here, maybe you can explain in Korean. 한국말로 하시고 그다음에 영어로 저희가 통역해드리겠습니다. So we'll provide a English translation. So if Endo Robotics are here, would you ask question directly to Paul and Sakina? Oh, there's this long one.
Or I can answer. I mean, I can see the one in the chat. If you want me to just answer that, I can do that.
Okay, maybe it's
if you want to ask him, it's up to you. If you want to do it in Korean first, and then I can answer.
Yes. There's one question from Sangbin Maintech. He posted in Korean. 혹시 한국말로 하셔도 됩니다. 인사하시고요.
네. 네. 반갑습니다.
예.
안녕하세요. 저 메인텍의 이상빈 대표입니다.
예. 화면 좀 켜주시겠어요?
네.
예.
네.
안녕하세요.
네.
제 메인텍의 이상빈 대표입니다.
네, 안녕하세요.
예.
지금 저희가 순차 통역 진행할 거니까 한 두세 문장으로 얘기해 주시면은 바로 통역사분이 바로 통역 들어가겠습니다.
예, 제가 채팅으로다가 질문 좀 드렸는데요. 저희 회사는 좀 업력이 됐지만 좀 기술을 좀 가지고 있어서 설명드렸듯이 이제 두 가지 분야의 기술을 가지고 있고 그 의약품 주입 분야는 이미 그 국내 허가하고 국내 병원도 이미 군대가 좀 런치가 돼 있고 EU 그러니까 CE 좀 인증을 받았으면 이제 FDA 인증을 진행 중인데요. 지금까지 의약품 주입 펌프가 나왔던 의약품 펌프가 이제 의사가 처방한 의약품을 정확하게 정량을 주입하는 것이 안 돼가지고 약간 좀 불규칙적인 좀 치료가 될 수밖에 없었는데 저희 기술은 거의 실시간 0%대 오차로도 의사의 처방을 정확하게 주입하는 그런 기술입니다. 그래서 좀 새로운 기술인데 이것은 이제 어쨌든 국내뿐만 아니라 세계 시장화를 위해서 좀 투자나 아니면 파트너를 좀 찾고 싶어서 이 프로그램에 참여했고요. 접근이 가능한지에 대한 질문이고 두 번째가 이제 이 기술을 이용해서 지금 항암제를 조제하는 장비가 좀 없습니다. 사실 로봇이 있는데 로봇은 좀 굉장히 비효율적이고 가격도 비싸고 조제량도 작고 그런데 저희는 이제 이 기술을 이용해서 가격도 싸고 조제량도 많고 그런 제품 개발을 지금 정부 과제로 진행하고 있습니다. 그래서 이 두 가지 제품을 글로벌 시장에 시장화하는데 이 프로그램을 통해서 시너지를 내보고자 참여했거든요. 가능한지에 대한 좀 답변을 주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
네. So Paul, the goal of Maintech, there are two goals they have. The first goal is searching for a partnership with this project, with this program. First of all, they have two kinds of technologies. The first technology is medicine injection. So far in the industry, they had difficulties injecting a certain set amount of medicine into the body, but Maintech has a technology that allows a specific and consistent amount of medicine to be injected into the body. And would Maintech be able to find a partnership with this program in this area? And their second goal is being assured that they will be able to go commercializing with these technologies in the global market. And currently they are developing an anti-cancer equipment with this injection technology. Currently, they're developing a robot in terms of anti-cancer area. So would they be able to go global with these technologies, with this program?
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. So, good questions. So for the first one, yes, the type of technology that you're talking about in the anti-cancer field is definitely of interest to our partners. And medication delivery is an area of interest as well. Mm-hmm. So in general, so that would be a good fit potentially. Secondly, as far as going global, we definitely have a global presence. We have companies from all over the world who participate in our program, both as partners and otherwise. So. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big benefits of MedTech Innovator is that we are global in our focus. So yes, you'd be able to participate with a global focus as well.
네, 여쭤보신 두 가지 질문 모두 긍정적인 답변을 주셨는데요. 항암제 그리고 약 주입 분야의 파트너들이 참가할 것이기 때문에 그 분야의 다른 다양한 기업들과 협업하실 수 있을 거고요. 이 프로그램 자체가 글로벌한 영향력을 가지고 있어서 다양한 국가의 기업들이 참여할 것이기 때문에 또 글로벌 시장화에 관련해서도 긍정적인 효과를 보실 수 있을 것 같습니다.
감사합니다. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, and I saw the question from Endo Robotics. Do you want me to answer that one? They said their microphone wasn't working, so I can answer that question. So the question that Endo Robotics asked was, I missed the earlier part of your presentation. Can a company that raised Series A funding apply? Yes, absolutely. We are looking for companies everywhere from the seed stage all the way up to Series C in funding generally. Or if you're commercial and you haven't raised capital, but you're up and running, that's fine too. But we're not looking for people who have no money and are looking to start a company and are hoping to raise money, you know, and work on this if they raise money. We need people who already have enough resources to be able to execute during our program.
네, 그리고 챗박스로 올라온 질문에 대해서 답변을 드리자면 시드 단계에서 시리즈 C 단계에 걸친 모든 기업들이 참여 가능합니다. 그리고 이미 시장에 출시된 제품이 있는데 자본이 부족하다 하는 경우에도 참여하실 수 있습니다. 다만 자본을 얻은 후에야, 펀딩이 진행된 후에야 작업을 시작할 수 있다, 사업을 시작할 수 있다. 그런 경우에는 참여하기가 조금 어려우실 것 같습니다. 오케이.
네, 혹시 더 추가적인 질문 있으실까요? 네, 그러면은 저희가 그 사전에 미리 질의를 주셨던 분들이 있어서 그 질문 먼저 그러면은 답변 진행하는 걸로 하겠습니다.
There were some questions we had before this session today, so then if there are any more questions, we'll go over to those.
네, 먼저 첫 번째 질문 주셨던 회사에서는 바스젠 바이오라는 회사에서 먼저 질문을 주셨고요. 그 시리즈 A를 받은 제품 외 신규로 시작하고자 하는 별도 사업을 발표한다고 하시는데 가능할까요? 라고 질문을 주셨거든요.
So the first question was from Biogen Bio. It says, can they present on a new separate item which has not been Series A funded?
A new item which has not been funded during the Series A. I'm not entirely sure if I'm getting what they were at, or what they were kind of trying to ask there. Meaning, are they asking about a second product, like if they already have a product and looking to do a second one? You think that's the question?
Yes, Paul. So if I may add a little bit on the question. So the Biogen asked me, they have already raised the funding for the specific product, and that they are now planning to launch another product, and which hasn't received any funding yet. So can they apply for this meta innovation with the new products? They haven't raised any funding yet.
Yeah, it's okay as long as they have resources to within the company to execute on their milestones already, even if they haven't raised that capital. So if they already have capital and now they're going to work on a second product, that's fine. But again, we're not looking for something that's speculative. We're not looking for something that's an idea and they're just looking to see if people are interested in that idea. We're looking for somebody who's actively working on that product and will continue to actively work on it in some way. So that would be the key if it's a second product. And we've had many companies do that who applied in the past who've said, you know, I have one product and now we want to do a second one, but they do have some resource. So we want to make sure at least they have the resources to succeed at some level as a company, whether or not, you know, they raise any new money. We want to make sure they can actually execute on the milestones.
네, 두 번째 사업 자본도 지원을 해주셔도 됩니다. 자본은 없어도 괜찮지만 이 프로그램을 진행하는 동안 설정해두신 마일스톤을 달성할 수 있도록 회사 내에 자본은 어느 정도 가지고 계셔야 합니다. 구상하신 아이디어와 더불어서 이 아이디어를 지원하는 관계자들이 있다든가 아니면 이 아이디어의 작업을 열심히 착수할 수 있는 팀이 있다든가 등등 여러 가지 자원은 가지고 계신 상태에서 지원해 주시기 바랍니다.
Okay. Thank you. And the second question we got this question from Wei Chen. More specific guide on the evaluation criteria and what kind of documents for applicants to prepare.
Okay, so evaluation criteria. So we're gonna look at companies in a similar way that investors look at companies. Originally, I was an entrepreneur myself, where I started 8 different companies, and then I became an investor, and I was a venture capitalist for close to 12 years. So the type of evaluations that we do are very similar to what I did as an investor. We're going to look at your team. We want to make sure that the team you have is able to, it may not be the perfect team, it may not be the complete team, but we want a team that we think, we're confident understands the problem and understands, again, the solution that you're trying to develop and is at least the right team for the right time. So the team is number one, because you can have a great technology, and if you don't have the right team, it will fail. Or the opposite, you can have a mediocre technology and a terrific team that could also be successful. So, we're looking for great teams. That's important. And again, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be somebody who really is able to execute and understands, what you're trying to solve. And we'll help you do it, but you have to have those basic resources. So team. Secondly, we're going to look at the competition. We're going to look at, what other technology is available, both as standard of care. What is the market like in general? Are there 50 other people doing the same thing, or is this, something that's a little more novel? So we'd like to find people who are doing something as a more novel solution, meaning that you don't have a lot of competition. It's okay to have some competition. We always expect that. And Sakina put in the chat, if you look in the chat, a link to a list of FAQs, one of which lists all of our evaluation criteria, but I'll just cover a couple more now. So we're looking again for something that is a novel solution, meaning it's not just the same as 10 other things. And we want, when I say novel, I mean protectable. You have intellectual property protection as well. Again, it doesn't have to be very robust. It can be early, but we'd like to make sure that you have some kind of protection. Third, we're going to be looking at the value that your product offers. So is it enough of a improvement over what's being done today in the standard of care that people are going to want to buy it, and they're going to want to pay for it? Is it going to improve outcomes? If it's a therapeutic technology, is it going to improve outcomes? Or is it just going to be pretty much the same as what's out there? If it's pretty much the same as the standard of care, it's not really going to be successful in most cases. So we're looking for things, again, that are, we like to say transformative. It can be somewhere between, a good incremental improvement and transformative. It doesn't have to be, we do take plenty of incremental advances. That's just fine, as long as it's enough of an incremental advance that people are going to want to buy your product. So that's important to know. It doesn't have to be, something, incredibly groundbreaking that no one's ever seen before. That would be great. But there's also plenty of great companies that are just solving a problem and no one else is doing it in a really good way. So, that's important too. So we just want to know how novel this technology is. We're not looking for me too technology. We're not looking for, the 5th or 10th or 20th company doing exactly the same thing. Even if it's a little bit cheaper, lowering cost alone isn't enough to necessarily be successful. You need to usually have some kind of differentiation if it's a therapeutic product, you know, in the clinical outcomes, if it's more of a workflow technology or something that's going to help people do, you know, the practice of medicine in some way, diagnosing, serving patients, you know, whatever it might be, monitoring technologies, you know, those technologies are fine. You know, we love that. Things that help people make clinical decision support, you know, artificial intelligence technology. These are all things we're looking for. But again, it has to, you know, offer what I would say significant value to the customer or to the, you know, the market.
Okay.
Is that good?
Okay. Yep. Let me just translate that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. So 웨이텐 쪽의 질문에 대한 답변인데요. 저희 챗박스에 사키나 씨께서 FAQ 리스트 그리고 평가 기준 리스트 링크를 올려드렸으니 풀 리스트는 링크를 통해서 보시면 되고요. 우선 3가지 정도로 기준을 폴 씨께서 정리해서 말씀을 해주셨는데요. 우선 투자자의 관점에서 기업들을 많이 평가하는 경향이 있다고 하십니다. 과거에 스스로 이제 8개의 기업을 설립하신 경험도 있고 12년 동안 벤처 캐피탈리스트로 활동하셨던 경험도 있으셔서 첫 번째 기준은 팀입니다. 완벽한 팀은 아니어도 되지만 가지고 계신 팀이 자신감을 보이고 사업에 대해서 완전히 이해를 하고 또 적절한 기술과 적절한 팀이 함께 협업해서 어우러져서 성과를 낼 수 있는 그런 상황이면 더욱 좋고요. 또 두 번째 평가 기준은 시장의 경쟁 상황입니다. 이 기업이 어떤 기술을 가지고 있는지, 그 새로운 기술인지, 그리고 지적재산권의 보호를 받고 있는지, 그리고 그 시장의 상황이 어떤지도 많이 본다고 하십니다. 예를 들어 경쟁사가 많은 시장 상황인지 아니면 경쟁사가 없는, 경쟁이 좀 덜한 시장인지도 같이 평가 기준에 넣으실 거고요. 또 마지막 3번째 기준은 이 기업이 어떤 가치를 창출하는지를 많이 본다고 하십니다. 이 기업이 창출해내는 가치에 따라서 소비자들이 이 서비스와 제품을 구매를 할지 그런 걸 예측을 해보시려고 하고요. 물론 이 가치가 굉장히 변혁적이어야 된다는 뜻은 아니고요. 천천히 개발되는 가치여도 괜찮습니다. 그리고 단지 비용이 절감된다거나 하는 부분만으로는 부족하고요. 아까도 말씀드렸다시피 다양한 분야의 기업들을 참가자로 받고 있습니다. 뭐 AI든지 모니터링이든지 아니면 치료법의 워크플로우 개선이라든지 다양한 분야에서 참여를 하셔도 되지만 다만 다른 경쟁사들과 어떤 차이점을 보이는지 어떤 경쟁력을 가지고 있는지에 중점을 두시고 어필을 해주시면 좋겠습니다.
Thank you, Yuna. Thank you, Paul. And then we are going to the next question. The third question we got from Endo Robotics. All the documents should be in English, and my qualifications are required either the all early and mid stage, medical device, diagnostic, and digital health companies.
Yeah, so the documents should be in English, yes. Thank you. That would be very helpful for us. We can translate, but it's better if they're in English. Let's see, any qualifications required other than early and mid-stage medical device, diagnostic, digital health companies? Well, we've already talked about some of the qualifications we're looking for. Let me see if there's anything else. I guess the only other thing, the only thing maybe I could add for qualifications would be that we're looking for people, as I said, who are interested in participating in this program. So what I mean by that is you're looking for feedback and guidance, and not just looking to win a prize. We're looking for people who want to actively, engage with our partners and are open to feedback. So that's an important qualification. That's not going to come out in the application necessarily, maybe a little bit, but it's important to let us know why you want to participate. So somewhere in the documents that you're filling out, if you could say in some way, you know, why you want to participate or what you think the benefit would be, that would be helpful as well.
엔도로보틱스사의 질문에 대한 답변인데요. 네, 모든 문서는 영문으로 번역해 주시면 검토하기가 훨씬 수월할 것 같습니다. 그리고 참여 조건은 저희가 앞서 Q&A를 진행하면서 많이 답변을 해드려서 그 부분을 참고하시면 될 것 같고, 하지만 추가적인 참여 조건이 있다면 항상 오픈 마인드로 피드백과 가이던스를 찾고 계시는 기업이면 저희 프로그램을 진행하실 때 훨씬 더 많은 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 또 적극적으로 저희 프로그램에 이러한 동기를 가지고 참여해 주시면 좋을 것 같고요. 그래서 제출하시는 문서 중에 하나를 골라서 이렇게 지원 동기를 간략하게 설명을 해주시면 더욱 어필이 많이 될 것 같습니다.
Okay, thank you. And I just found that Joanne posted another question in the chat box about the novel solution. Products, do the technology and solution have to be the best in the class and the first in the class?
No, yeah, the companies don't have to be best. They don't have to be best in class or first in class, but they should be very good. You know, people generally say, you know, we've got a best in class solution. But, you know, there are times that there's a better solution than what's available. But it's better in some ways and not better in others. So for example, it might be easier for people to use and better fit into the workflow than something else. And it may not be as precise or accurate or whatever you know, the whatever the measure is, if it's a diagnostic, let's say, but it's better suited for the workflow than something that's out there. That might be an example where something isn't best in class per se, but is still a very novel solution. So that would be an example.
Okay.
네, 그리고 챗방에 올라온 질문에 대한 답변인데요. 네, 최고의 솔루션이면 항상 좋습니다. 어떤 기업들은 참여해서 저희가 최고의 솔루션을 가지고 있습니다라고 얘기하는데 항상 시장에 그보다 더 나은, 더 유저들이 편리하게 사용할 수 있는 방법이 있는지, 또 더 워크플로우를 개선할 수 있는 방법이 있는지 한번 조사를 해보시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
Okay, and the fourth question, we got the question from Seoul Medical Informatics Intelligence Lab. What kind of benefits or rewards by applying for this event, and what benefits can we receive if we become a winner? Even if we are not selected, can we still maintain this network for a further event?
Yeah, so the benefits for applying, as I said, are getting the opportunity to present to investors and strategics and others who are in the industry. So being on their radar is number one. Number two, having the opportunity to participate in the program, which offers a huge amount of value to companies. Oftentimes the companies will change, you know, companies will say, hey, we pivoted, we changed our strategy based on what we learned in this program. They might change their market that they're targeting, they might change their regulatory strategy, might change the product entirely. They might say, hey, we thought we were doing this, but now we found it should be something else. So there's a lot of value just to being, you know, to being in the program. That's why we would hope you'd apply, would be to be in the program. Even if you don't become a winner, you can still have a huge amount of value. As I said earlier, the companies that have participated in MedTech Innovator, most of them, with very few exceptions, raise the funding they're looking to raise, achieve the milestones they're looking to achieve. You know, this year alone in 2021, this past year globally, our companies raised about $1.8 billion in funding across our portfolio. So, you know, there's a lot of benefits just to being in the program. I want to make sure that's clear. If you win, if you're in the competition, then you can win some cash prizes. Again, this is non-dilutive funding. We'll have 150,000 US prize for the first place winner. We'll also have a number of runner-up prizes for the other companies that make it to the finals. So that might be 10,000 or more per company. We have a video competition where all the companies, everybody who participates makes a video who's part of MedTech Innovator. It's not a typical pitch video where you're just looking at the screen with some slides. These are highly produced and we teach you how to do that. Those will turn into an asset that you can use forever. We also have a competition for the best video that receives a $10,000 prize. Enterprise Singapore will give away $30,000 Singapore dollars as a prize to a company. Cambridge Consultants will have a 60,000 US consulting prize. Oliver Healthcare Packaging will have a $60,000 prize. And J Labs will have a residency, which is also worth $60,000. So there's a number of prizes that you can get. But to the last point, even if you're not selected, yes, you can keep the network. We want you to be part of the network. The companies that pitch, that we invite to pitch, we provide all the contact information so you can maintain the network with the other people, the investors, the strategics, and the other presenting companies.
네, 우선 크게 두 가지 이점을 설명을 해주셨는데요. 우선 첫 번째 이점은 저희 업계의 지도자들과 투자자들을 상대로 프레젠테이션을 할 수 있다는 것입니다. 두 번째는 프로그램에 참여하는 것 그 자체가 이점이 될 수가 있는데요. 저희 프로그램에 참여했던 기업들은 프로그램을 진행하면서 기업의 전략이나 규제 전략을 수정하고 개선한 경우도 있었습니다. 그리고 이 대회에 참여해서 우승을 하지 않아도 괜찮습니다. 저희 프로그램에 참여했던 기업들 대부분이 펀딩을 진행을 했고 마일스톤을 달성할 수 있었는데요. 2021년만 놓고 보더라도 총 참가자들이 모금한 펀딩의 양이 18억 달러에 달합니다. 물론 우승자에게는 더 많은 경품이 주어지는데요. 1등에게는 현금으로 약 15억 달러가 약 15만 달러가 지급이 됩니다. 그리고 파이널스, 즉 우승 대회에 참가하는 모든 기업들에게 약 10만 달러가 넘는 경품이 지급이 되고요. 그리고 비디오를 만드실 수 있도록 교육도 진행이 됩니다. 이 영상을 한번 만드시고 나면 여러분들의 평생 자산이 될 것입니다. 이 비디오를 만드는 대회도 열려서 우승자에게는 10만 달러의 상품이 주어집니다. 이 외에도 제이랩스에서 지급하는 상품도 있는데요. 약 6만 달러에 달하는 상품을 드리게 될 것입니다. 그리고 우승을 하지 못하시더라도 이 프로그램에 참가함으로써 네트워크는 언제든지 여러분의 자산으로서 챙겨가실 수 있게 됩니다.
Okay, thank you. I just got a question from Hak-Won Kim directly from on the message. It's a quick question. Is there any difference between US program and Asia Pacific program? Is Asia Pacific program only available for non-US companies?
Yes, the US program will have its curriculum will be focused on companies that want to access the US market as their primary market. So that will be for companies that may want to access other markets, but the US is the market they want to focus on. So a lot of our discussion will be about US regulatory, US market access, and so on. For the Asia Pacific program, we're going to be focused on companies that want to access the Asia Pacific markets. So markets like Korea and Japan and Singapore and China and others, that will be our focus. And we will still provide information about the US market, but it will be a minor part of it will not be our primary focus. But if you're participating in our Asia program and you're interested in the US market, we can still make plenty of introductions and provide you with access. Also, the curriculum part of MedTech Innovator is open. So each week we have a webinar where we have a panel set up to answer questions that have been provided in advance, just like we're doing here today, by our companies, and anyone can participate. So even if you're in the Asia program, you can still either participate live or watch the recordings of our US program. And you can interact with people from the US program. So there's good ability to cross over. So you do not have to be in the region so you don't have to be in the US to be in the US program. You don't have to be in Asia for the Asia program. We've had companies from all over the world in both programs.
네, 질문에 대한 답변을 드리자면 그 아시아태평양 프로그램은 아시아태평양 시장을 타겟팅하는 기업들이 참가하면 가장 좋습니다. 미국 프로그램의 커리큘럼은 미국 시장을 타겟으로 하고 있는 기업들을 위주로 편성이 되어 있고요. 만약 미국 시장을 타겟팅하지 않으시더라도 물론 아시아태평양 프로그램이 더욱 적합하십니다. 하지만 미국 시장에 관심도 있으시다면 저희 아시아태평양 프로그램에 참여하셔도 저희가 많은 정보와 접근성에 대한 도움을 드릴 수 있을 것 같습니다. 또 저희 프로그램의 장점은 항상 이 커리큘럼이 여러분들에게 오픈되어 있다는 점인데요. 저희가 매주 세미나를 진행해서 오늘 저희가 하고 있는 것처럼 여러분들이 가진 질문에 대해서 패널이 답변을 제공해 드립니다. 아시아 프로그램에 참여하신다고 하더라도 미국 프로그램의 이런 세미나 녹화본을 언제든지 열람하실 수 있습니다.
Thank you. Actually, that question is just exactly that we are supposed to ask. So actually we prepared the additional questions just in case if we don't have any questions.
Let's see. And Sakina just posted in the chat a link to the 1-minute videos from last year's best video competition. If you're applying to MedTech Innovator, it's useful, I think, to watch that because they're very short videos, they're 1 minute each. But you'll see the quality of the companies that are in the program. But I don't want you to be afraid and go, wow, oh my gosh, they look so much better than us. They're still, every one of these companies is just like you, meaning they're all early stage companies. We just help them make good videos. But it'll be helpful for you to watch that and see kind of what it looks like to be on the for a company that has gone through MedTech Innovator. Those are useful to watch.
Not only that, but we also have like the 2020 and other webinars that are on our YouTube. So there's a lot of our resources and information of our past years cohort companies from 2020, 2021, and our 2021 and 2020 programs in terms of our live webinars, also on our YouTube playlist. So you can check it out.
그리고 잠깐 질문으로 넘어가기 전에 챗박스에 저번에 진행됐었던 영상 대회 1분짜리 영상 최우수상을 받은 기업의 영상 링크가 올라와 있는데요. 한번 지원을 하기 전에 이 영상을 보시면 많은 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 이전에 참여했었던 기업들이 얼마나 우수했는지 참고가 될 것 같고요. 그렇다고 기죽으실 필요는 없습니다. 다 여러분들과 같이 스타트업 초기 단계에 머물러 있는 기업들이 만들었던 영상이고요. 또 뿐만 아니라 유튜브에 들어가시면 2020년이든 2021년이든 웨비나 진행했었던 영상들이 남아있으니 참고하시면 이전에 참가했었던 코호트나 프로그램에 대한 정보도 얻으실 수 있습니다.
Sorry, I have a short question. 제가 이거 어제 신청할 때 동영상을 올리는 건 없었는데 혹시 그게 제가 신청을 잘못한 거나 그런 건가요?
동영상을 올리시는 건 없고 이건 참고로 보내주신 겁니다. 방금.
네, 감사합니다.
네.
잠시만 질문이 동영상을 반드시 올려야 된다는 것인가요? 조영훈님?
네, 제가 어제 그 신청을 했는데 동영상을 올리는 과정이 없어서 혹시라도 이제 이게 동영상을 제가 빼놓고 한 건가 싶어서 여쭤보려고 말씀드렸던 겁니다.
통역사분이 분명히 줄 것 같은데.
네. So Paul, when they apply to, is making a video must for the application, or can they make the video throughout the program?
Yeah, the video is made during the program.
네.
During the program, not in advance. If you have a video, there's a place where you can add it to your application. And we recommend you do that if you have a video. But the videos you're going to see that we were talking about, those are made during the program.
지원서를 작성하실 때 영상을 첨부하실 필요는 없고요. 물론 미리 만들어 두신 영상이 있으면 첨부하실 수는 있습니다. 방금 말씀드렸던 영상은 프로그램을 진행하면서 만들게 되십니다.
Thank you so much.
네. 혹시 더 추가적으로 질문 주실 분 있으신가요?
4번 질문하시면 될 것 같아요.
아, 네. 그러면은 제가 마지막으로 추가 질문 드리겠습니다. Okay, I'm gonna ask you last final question. The question number 4, the road tour for the pitch event, in which are in-person pitch events scheduled this year?
As of right now, we don't know. We'd like to do them in person, but as of right now, we're just not sure if that's going to be possible. So we have not yet scheduled any of our pitch events in Asia to be in person. So we're preparing. We would like to, but we just haven't yet.
I think that to be safe, most of our online pitch events would be online, but we are also looking at scheduling in-person pitch events that may be separate from the entire accelerator program in countries depending on how the situation develops. So definitely, as we have discussed with MediHeroes, South Korea is one of the destinations that we are looking at having an in-person pitch event. And it can be a very simple like showcase for South Korean companies that are in the MedTech industry. Yeah.
현재까지는 대면으로 진행되는 피치가 계획된 거는 없습니다. 상황이 어떻게 진행되는지에 따라 달려 있는데요. 대부분이 온라인 피칭으로 예정이 되어 있습니다. 하지만 그럼에도 불구하고 대면으로 진행이 되면 좋은 부분도 있기 때문에 이 엑셀레이터 프로그램과 따로 피칭을 진행할 예정도 있는데요. 한국에서 그냥 간단한 쇼케이스 형식으로 매드테크 분야의 기업들과 함께 피칭을 진행해보면 어떨까 구상 중이기는 합니다.
I think now Paul will answer the other questions on the slide in the chat.
Yeah, I was just quickly typing in the answers to the other questions.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
그리고 나머지 3개 질문들에 대한 답변도 채팅으로 보내드리도록 하겠습니다.
네, 지금 첫 번째 질문에서 답변 주신 거 제가 간략하게 말씀드리면은 일단 US 프로그램이나 APEC 프로그램 둘 다 지원은 같은 해에 이제 지원을 하실 수 있지만 선정은 한 개만 가능합니다. 그리고 USA 프로그램으로 진행을 할 때 릴로케이트 해야 되냐라고 질문을 드렸는데 따로 릴로케이트 이전하실 필요 없다고 답변 주셨습니다.
네, 그리고 세 번째 질문에 대해서는 여러 개의 지원서를 내실 수 있습니다. 여러 개의 제품을 가지신 경우에는 지원서도 여러 개 내셔야겠죠.
I think also one more thing to take note of is you don't need to relocate, but depending on the program that you are accepted to. So for example, if you submit to both the US and the APAC program, but it seems that your business model or your expansion plan is more towards the US, and then you get accepted into the US program, the webinars and the accelerator program will be in US time zone. So it's something to take note of, especially if you are in Korea. So it's the same for like companies who are in the US that apply to the Asia Pacific program, or in Europe. We have had past cohort companies who wake up or they do not sleep until 3 a.m. in the morning. And it's very common. We have had that in both our Asia Pacific and our US programs, more so for Asia Pacific, because there are European and American US companies who are looking at expanding into Asia. So yes, that's something to take note of.
그리고 참고하시면 좋은 점이 이전하실 필요는 없지만 여러분이 참여하시는 프로그램이 진행되는 그 지역의 시간대를 기준으로 프로그램이 진행됩니다. 예를 들어서 여러분께서 미국과 APEC 프로그램 모두에 지원을 했다. 그런데 비즈니스 모델과 사업 방향이 좀 더 US 쪽에 기울어서 미국 쪽 프로그램에 참여하시게 되는 경우에는 미국의 시간대에 따라 엑셀러레이터 프로그램이 진행되기 때문에 어떤 경우에는 새벽 3시까지 깨어서 이 프로그램에 참여하시는 경우도 많이 봤었고요. 또 미국 기업이 APEC 프로그램에 참여할 때도 마찬가지입니다. APEC 프로그램이 진행되는 아시아 태평양 시간대를 기준으로 프로그램이 진행될 것입니다.
Okay, thank you. If there is no more question, I think we can finish this session, and we are taking a group photo shot before we end. So please turn on your videos, and then I will count 3. Are you ready?
예, 사진 찍겠습니다, 여러분. 또 이참에 또 얼굴도 보여주시고 사진 찍고 마치도록 하겠습니다.
저도 켜야 할까요? 통역사는.
예,
네, 알겠습니다.
예, 다 얼굴 켜십시오, 여러분.
네네.
Yeah, let's get me together, you know, even if we cannot meet in person.
Yeah, how about we take a photo with a backup pose? Is it okay?
Great idea.
Okay, then let me count 3.
Okay.
2.
Cheese. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. And if you have any questions, please also post question to us. And please, I encourage you all to apply. And thank you so much again. And Paul and Sakina attend this co-host the event for the Korean audience in particular. And hope that we can see you soon when the COVID-19, you know, ends.
Thank you very much for hosting us. This was really fun.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
감사합니다. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
예, 수고하셨습니다.
채팅방에 그 참고하실 만한 링크
Apply.
담당자가 올려놨습니다. 참고하십시오.
예, 예, 감사합니다. Thank you, Paul.
Make sure you apply.
Please apply to fly.
That's right. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank you,
good day.
Paul. Yeah, thank you,
All right.
Sakina, again. Good night to Paul. And thank you, Sakina, again.
Thank you. I'm going to go get dinner.
Okay. Yes. Okay, thank you, my
All right.
team. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for organizing.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.